Studios in Ontario, California, it's Foobar Sports.
Hey everybody, welcome to Foobar Sports, to another scintillating episode. We are on episode 9. I am your host, Josh, along with my partners in slime, Mr. Foo and Joe C. What's going on, Foo? Oh, there it is. I was waiting for someone to cue it up.
Yes.
You suck over there, Foo.
So much for short and sweet.
You suck. Why don't you just participate, Foo?
I thought you were going to be short and sweet.
It was pretty short. How long do you want me to go? You motherfucker.
Chop.
You're always the one poo-pooing the fourth wall being broken. Foo,
yeah, and you're the one that constantly breaks it.
I don't. You guys just
break
love bringing attention to it.
You motherfucker. Anyways, we're going to be getting into...
He's breaking that fourth wall.
Yeah, hardcore. Well, we're going to be getting into some NBA news, some All-Star Weekend recap, football news regarding Mr. Colin Kaepernick, and we're going to kind of discuss what the hell's really going on with the MLB free agents. But first, there was some, rather surprising news in the NBA community. GM of the New Orleans Pelicans, Mr. Dell Demps, was recently relieved of his duties.
Yeah, I posted that on the group earlier this week, and I was just like, oh. Shit. They let him go.
Yeah, it was shocking to me, first off.
I didn't see that coming.
No one really did. And not even the coaches like Alvin Gentry, because it happened during the game. Another incident that happened during the game.
They didn't tell him during the game.
Yeah, well, they told him after the game.
They strike again.
Yeah, during the game, and then after the game, during the press conferences, they had just won the game too. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was a great game, and they go up to Alvin Gentry, and instead of asking him, how the game went, how's he feeling about it, they automatically ask him, how do you feel about your GM Dell Demps being fired? And he's just like, look, we just won a good game. Can you just ask me about the game?
Yeah,
you know what? He's like, I'm not involved in any of those talks.
Another question about like the whole AD situation, and he's just been like, this whole thing's been a dumpster fire. So I don't know what you want me to say anymore.
Exactly. Everyone's put him in a position where it's like, dude, come on, like he has no control over any of this.
Just so you know, Josie, the way the ownership works for this team is that this is one of the weird situations in where the owner for the Saints owns the Pelicans as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the owner passed away late last year.
Yeah, Tom Benson and Gail Benson, who owned the Saints for years, when the Pelicans were up for sale during the whole... Pretty much they weren't owned by anyone. They were pretty much owned by the league. And it was during that whole Chris Paul trade that... basically the commissioner nixed. Tom Benson and Gail Benson came in and bought the team because they're from New Orleans, and let's just buy New Orleans team.
Local,
keep it local. So they've hired Dell Demps to be the GM of this team at that time, but to oversee him, they had the GM of the Saints, Mickey Loomis, who primarily focuses on football, oversee Dell Demps.
So they had the NBA general manager reporting to the Saints.
To the NFL manager.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, so first off, that right there, right off the bat, was not a good recipe to start, because you have two completely different leagues that function in different ways.
Right.
And to have someone that had absolutely no years of experience in the NBA try and tell or dictate to Dell Demps how to manage was not a good recipe. And then on top of that, I heard stories that Gail Benson was upset with how Dell Demps handled the Lakers trade, and that it was pretty much him. Like, she didn't want him to talk or deal with the Lakers at all. Like, she was upset that he even discussed trading Anthony Davis to the Lakers.
Were they afraid she was going to give away the farm or something?
No. She
didn't want to engage in any trade talks, and then.
Dell Demps
this pretty much means like the whole leaks and everything came at the direction of Dell Demps.
Oh, it was his way of getting back as the Lakers for
but it
tampering,
makes the organization look petty as fuck.
Yeah.
So that's why they fired him. They're like, dude, we're trying to run a fucking
clean
professional, top level organization.
I thought the whole organization was in on it, because I was just like, that's a clever motherfucking way to get back at the Lakers.
The organization was completely,
they were all like, we're not trading him. End of story. When's the next game? And then Dell Demps took it upon himself to take revenge for the Lakers tampering, even though it really wasn't tampering.
It wasn't
First of all,
it wasn't technically tampering, but it was his way of getting back at the Lakers. That kind of was like, come on, man, that's petty as fuck. And then he wasn't really doing a great job. Like, he didn't build. He had Anthony Davis, who is by far one of the top 5 best players in the league right now. He did nothing with him. He didn't get any good supporting cast for him. He didn't get any good draft picks for him. Like, everything he tried to put around him to even make him a playoff contender, like last year was the only year that he had anything. And Boogie Cousins ended up getting hurt. And they didn't even bring him back. And if they did bring him back, I thought
if they would have brought him back,
Anthony Davis would have stayed.
Yeah, he would stay for
He would
sure.
have stayed.
Boogie Cousins is the name of somebody?
His name's DeMarcus Cousins, but he goes by Boogie.
He goes by Boogie.
Oh, man,
Boogie,
that's
so-
awesome.
And he's a mean motherfucker, too.
Yeah.
Big 7'2"?
He's a big.
Sounds like a keg party at my parents' house.
He's a
Hey,
big wet blanket.
Is Boogie coming over? Boogie coming over? Oh, shit. Be careful, Boogie.
I brought my Rick James album.
So obviously it kind of makes sense why Anthony Davis would want to leave, because he doesn't feel the organization is behind him.
He's been with them for 7 going on 8 years.
Yeah, and
so
and
if they're not trying, if they're really not trying and going over the board to try to compete for a championship, yeah, he can leave.
Right.
yeah, he can, and he has every right to. Like right now during All-Star Weekend, a lot of the press have been asking him, so are the Boston Celtics really not on your list? And he's like, they're on my list. He's like, everyone's on my list. All 29 other teams are on my list. He's like, if they give me the best opportunity to win, long term and win championships, then I'm all for any team and I'm willing to sign. He's like, but they got to be a winner, and they got to prove to me that, I should stay there longer. So it's kind of his way of, rather than narrowing down his list to those 4 or 5 teams he had given like a couple weeks ago, now he's just pretty much trying to do the political thing. He's like, well, everyone's available. Everyone's my friends. And it's just like, hold on, son. You were not saying that. You were singing a different tune last week.
Can't you morons do anything right?
Right? Exactly. That's what Gail Benson's thinking.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, segueing into the All-Star Weekend, last night...
Or this is All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
First of all.
I did not say it wasn't. But
Are we recording on All-Star Weekend?
We are recording
Yeah.
on All-Star
Okay,
Weekend.
cool.
So on the 6th, asshole.
And when this comes out on Tuesday, it would have passed.
Yes, it
All
would have.
right.
It would have
Want to make
passed.
sure we're breaking another fourth wall here.
Thanks a
Foo.
lot, Foo. Thanks a lot.
Foo's coming in like, oh
This guy didn't even warm up to it. He's like,
didn't need
he's
to.
like now getting back into
I
it.
didn't need to. I discussed.
There was no getting back into it if you never started it. Just saying.
I'm not high enough for this. This is.
we're doing this thing sober, everybody.
We are. We are.
Speak for yourselves.
God, yeah. No
Okay,
shit.
you reek, dude.
Anyways, as I had discussed, obviously during All-Star Weekend, they were talking to Anthony Davis about that. So going on to the All-Star Weekend festivities, Foo, if you would let me fucking finish. Okay, seriously. On the 16th, we had the events. We had the skills challenge. We also had the 3-point contest and the dunk contest. So, Foo, what did you think of the dunk contest? Shit with the capital S-H-I-T.
Really?
It was terrible.
Didn't some guy jump over Shaq? and then
That
win
was
or
like the
something?
highlight, but that was in the first
Yeah,
round.
Foo, but you just can't have 1 minute out of 60 minutes be good and be like, that was a great hour.
What do you
Like,
mean? We do it every week here.
Good point. Good point. Wow, he gives a good point. Damn, can't argue that anymore. Well, you had 2 or 3 guys that couldn't even make a dunk. Like they had
Were
3
they missing dunks?
Yes, they had 3 opportunities.
One guy in the first round didn't even. You get 3 shots to make a dunk, and he missed all 3.
All
Oh,
3.
dang.
They even gave him a 4th just because he was the hometown kid. It was the hometown team. Like, come on, man, just get one up, please. And then
Second round, he throws the best dunk of the whole contest. But mind you, he missed the first dunk, so this guy's not even going to the finals.
he didn't even go.
Yeah.
He didn't qualify because he didn't get. They gave him like a petty score of like, or
33.
petty score of 33.
What was so cool about this this other dunk?
The second dunk, the way he did it, he used another player, Kemba Walker, he had him throw it off of the side of the backboard. So he grabbed the rebound from the side and he came back over and like spun.
Yeah, spun around from the other side.
It was dope.
Did a reverse. So that was good.
And that's where the good.
Nah, okay.
That's where the good stopped.
Your opinion is stopped here. Hamidou Diallo's dunk over Shaq.
Shabadoo Bialo.
was a good dunk. It was a good dunk. He was
playing more of the character role. Like in the first one, he was trying to hype the crowd up and get super involved. And the second one, when he jumped, second round when he jumped over Shaq, he dunked over him. He had Superman, underneath him.
That,
so he was really playing
highlights.
like the fanfare of it,
right?
But I mean, it was still a good dunk. He cleared Shaq. He cleared a 7-3.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
He did clear Shaq.
Yeah.
He cleared him. And a lot of people were saying, well, he had his hand on his back. But if you notice, there was no leverage. Mm-hmm. The hand was just there just so he knew, okay, he's not hitting my balls.
He mostly used his fingers. There's no way this guy can get an extra half a foot just from like his fingers midair already.
If anything, he's just trying to make sure he doesn't take Shaq's head off.
Exactly.
Or, Shaq takes his nuts off. Either or both. Then there was the next dunk with Dennis Smith Jr. where he brought out J. Cole from the stands. And J.
Cole is Foo?
The rapper?
Yeah, J. Cole.
He came out, and J. Cole, I thought it was just a homeless dude that was just with all of his dreads. Because he had a beanie on. He had a bunch of dreads. He had like a tie-dye beanie on and sweatpants.
He looked all sketch.
Dude, he looked like a dude off Skid Row. And I was just like, what the hell? Well, I mean, he did. I'm not lying. Oh, dude, it was a good fashion trend. J. Cole's
It was a good fashion trend. He looked like he was off Skid Row.
Hey, man, he's taking it back. He's taking it back.
Way back.
He's taking it way back. So they had J. Cole, who's from North Carolina, sit on a chair. And so this dude, Dennis Smith Jr., is what, 6 foot? I think 6'1", so just under. Mm-hmm. And he dunked straight over him, like the MJ
He jumped
dunk.
over him and he wore his high school jersey.
And he wore J. Cole's high school jersey.
His basketball jersey.
So he dumped right over him. So then after he dunked, everyone was like all hyped. And then, I shit you not, J. Cole grabs the ball
and he goes up to dunk.
And he's so close. He almost hits the dunk. He almost hits the dunk. And everyone in the crowd is just like, oh. Like, dude, that place would have gone
you hear the
in
collective.
Flames if he had hit that.
Oh.
It would have been amazing if he had hit that dunk.
He ends up winning.
Yeah. Everyone, they should have just given him an automatic 50 just for even trying.
Yeah.
You know what though?
That was probably the height of it.
That was the height of it. Even like the final dunks on the final round was terrible. Mm-hmm. Just like really,
each guy missed once.
Each guy missed once, and then the Diallo guy just kind of phoned it in because he's like, "Dude, I'm gonna win this automatically." Because the other guy didn't even get a dunk off in the first round, so he knew it was an automatic win.
Oh, and then there was who was the guy from the Nets that brought out the plane and the pilots, dude?
From the Hawks.
He was from the
Nets.
Hawks?
Yeah, John Collins. Dude, from the
check
Hawks.
this out, man.
So he starts off by parading a bunch of guys dressed as the Tuskegee Airmen coming out of the tunnel. And so then they're all with the leather hats and the Snoopy scarf.
Yeah,
and the Snoopy scarf. And so then they're all like in
Snoopy?
they're all like in a triangle formation at the top of the key, like standing attention. And then all of a sudden you see them roll out like freaking Wilbur Orville and Wilbur Wright plane out underneath the basket, like a big ass paper plane.
What the fuck?
Underneath the basket. So then the dude goes, and this guy's like 6'10", going to try and dunk over this thing. And when he does, he kicks the wing. He breaks the wing of the plane.
He breaks it.
He pretty much breaks it and steps on it. Doesn't clear it at all.
He was also wearing the helmet and like the Snoopy fucking
scarf
too.
And he tried wearing the glasses, but the glasses wouldn't work. So he just wore the little hat and then the scarf. But he was trying to readjust the whole time. It looked like a recipe for disaster. It was the most epic,
awful.
It was beautiful disaster
awful,
I've ever seen. Nice. It was amazing. But that was it. Like that, you can jeer at the dunk contest rather than cheer at the dunk contest. There was nothing to cheer about. It was so boring. The most exciting thing in that entire event last night were the 3-point contest. Because this dude from the Nets, from the Brooklyn Nets, Joe Davis, he hits a 47% 3-point range or 3-point shot percentage right now.
His percentage is 47.
47%, second in the league. He starts off, he was the very first shooter. He starts off with 24 points. 25 points, I'm sorry. He starts off and hits 25 points.
So he puts on a hell of a show.
Hell of a show right away. And then the next people after, Kemba Walker only hit 15. There was also Seth Curry, Steph Curry's brother, who only hit 16. Mm-hmm. And there was a side bet, to veer off a little bit, to go on a little tangent. Steph Curry and Seth Curry were both in this contest. They had a little side bet to begin, and it was that if whoever won would have to pay for tickets for their entire family the next time they play against each other. Because Seth is on the Blazers and Steph is on the Warriors. Mm-hmm. They play at least 4 or 6 times a year, I think, Foo?
4 times a year.
4 times a year. They play against each other 4 times a year. So now Seth has to pay for tickets for their entire family the next time they play. So continuing.
The brother who doesn't make millions of dollars.
Yeah,
like
the brother
Steph.
who barely makes any. I mean, he's a great player. He's a great shooter, but he doesn't have Steph money.
Right.
Doesn't have 2-time MVP money like Steph. So the final came down to Buddy Hield and Steph Curry and Joe Davis, this guy that started it off. Mm-hmm. So Buddy Hield only ended up with 19 points in the second round. So he pretty much knew he was in third. And so then, because Joe Davis started off again, and he started off at 26. This time he upped the ante and got an extra point and hit 26 points. Got 26 points in the three-point. And so then Steph Curry comes up. He's the final one. Mm-hmm. And this is going down to the wire. Like, he cannot miss one money ball, because if he did, he would automatically lost. And so in the last rack, he misses, the last one? The last shot or the second to last
shot to tie it.
To tie it.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
and Joe Davis won, man. This guy, this no-name, pretty much no-name player, comes out and beats the best 3-point shooter in NBA history.
You're a loser. Are you feeling sorry for yourself?
Yeah,
that's exactly what Del Curry said to Steph Curry.
Loser, foo.
That's exactly.
Well, you should be, because you are dirt.
Yeah. It was so.
That was the best.
That was the best
competition.
That was the best competition. That was the most exciting competition out of everything, and it was 3-point shooting. 3-point shooting. Yeah, it was
no defender.
No defender. Yeah,
you can probably hit more that way. For sure.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was still a good event. They even had in between the dunk contest and the 3-point contest, a little shooting competition with Shaq and Kenny Smith.
Oh yeah,
where they brought out 2 Chainz and Quavo, and it was those little. They basically had this little toy,
like the arcade ones,
like the little arcade game underneath, and so they had these little balls, and they would have to try and hit as many as possible in there. What was it, a minute? Within a minute?
Within a minute.
Yeah. So then Kenny and Quavo just start destroying the game, and so then Shaq and 2 Chainz comes up. Shaq can't even hit it directly underneath.
So Shaq's so big, he goes to the side and just starts.
He still goes to the side in the
layups.
paint and just starts doing layups into it, and he's just telling 2 Chainz, pass it over to me.
Yeah,
and I'll
he
just
can't be right under it.
Yeah, so he's just handing him off, trying to hit it. Yeah, it was bad. It was
fucking shit.
It was hilarious. So I mean, obviously we can't get into what happened in the game itself, because as of recording, it hasn't happened yet. But let's kind of discuss the players that are in the game. Food.
So, Food, do you know how the NBA All-Star Game works? No? I thought so. So, the NBA...
Well, hey, man.
Hey, just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand.
That's right.
Food.
That is
they
right.
moved away from... It used to be voting the fans would vote the starting 5, and the coaches would all vote in the substitutes.
Uh-huh.
Well, they changed that now. Right? They did change that?
Yeah. They
didn't change that. They still have the same system, but it used to be East versus West teams.
Long story short.
Yeah, I could have said that during the fucking 3-point breakdown. Oh, this guy got 16 in the first round, and fuck you.
Sorry, Foo.
Once they have all the players, they have the 2 captains draft each team. So LeBron had the most votes from the West, and Giannis, the Greek freak, he had the most from the East.
Oh, okay.
And then
So they're the 2 captains.
Yeah,
the
the
2
captains, and they just do a lottery.
Okay.
So
that explains why I saw a few posts of LeBron looking at a board full of players, and he's kind of just trying to pick out.
Yeah, they legit drafted him. There was even a point where
all the players LeBron picked to start, they're all free agents this coming year.
And one of them was Anthony Davis. And so LeBron's like, obviously, I'm going to get Anthony Davis. And so then Giannis is like, during the whole thing, he's like, tampering. Hey, I think that's tampering. And LeBron's like, there ain't no tampering during All-Star Weekend. So some of the players that were on there.
Well, LeBron started off with Kevin Durant.
Okay.
And then Steph Curry was the second pick for the East.
For Giannis.
So LeBron had first pick, and then it would go to Giannis. So LeBron's team ended up being Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Anthony Davis. His top 5 picks, and then every one of those picks except James Harden is a free agent this year.
Jeez.
So LeBron fucking is trolling them.
He's trying to put together his dream team.
He's trying to put it together, man.
He's trolling the owners.
He better win, goddammit.
And then his first 5 picks for Team Giannis was Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Paul George, Kemba Walker, and Chris Middleton. And then they drafted 12 each, or 11 each, and then they also threw in like Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, there were special write-ins.
Like, special legend picks or whatever, because they're going to retire at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then LeBron traded he drafted Russell Westbrook, but he traded him to the other team.
For Ben Simmons.
Okay.
So Russell Westbrook would have to be on the same team as Joel Embiid.
And those
kind
two
of have beef right
notoriously
now.
hate each other.
Oh,
Well,
great.
the last game they played, like Russell went up to make a layup, and then Joel Embiid was like chasing him down, and then like he tripped, and then he fouled him, but on the way down, his elbow followed through and smacked Russell in the back of the head.
Ooh.
So Russell Westbrook is trying to say that it wasn't intentional, and it's like, Dick, it was just a fast play. Shut up. Don't be a bitch. But, dude, he's a super fucking drama queen about it.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. But it was funny, too, because reporters during, the beginning of All-Star break weekend asked Russell Westbrook, so how do you feel being on the same team as Joel Embiid?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'll fucking talk about it. And that was it. He hasn't said a word about it.
Yeah. You just say he doesn't want to talk about
He
it.
just won't talk about it. Next question.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Well, what's there to say? You know,
dude,
he obviously doesn't like him.
He obviously doesn't. That's what's going to be so good during the game. I really want to see them on the court at the same time. That would be perfect.
They're like a dream team together. It's all perfect. Layups and shit.
Best combo ever.
Yeah.
Best combo ever.
I mean, that'll make for a good anime for sure.
Well, Food, you want to move on into other sports news?
Yeah. Foo, how is your San Diego Fleet doing, man?
I don't know, nor do I care.
You care, dude. That's the podcast
San Diego
team, dude.
Fleet.
Right.
That's the podcast team
This
now.
guy's bringing up AAF teams over here.
All right, well, you need
the
to get me a
fuck outta
poster.
here.
You need to get me a poster, a hat, and a pendant.
Dude, I'll get you a jersey.
Well,
It's going to be one of the iron-ons, but it's going to still be a jersey.
One of the iron-ons.
He needs a pendant, man. That's the only way
Sorry,
it becomes legit if he has a
I'll
pendant.
get you a magnet. How's that?
I'll take it. I'll put it on my stainless steel fridge where it won't work.
Where it won't work.
Yeah.
Stainless. Well, the AAF, it's the second weekend, Foo. Some games are wrapping up today. But I don't know if you heard, the AAF made an offer to Colin Kaepernick.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't he just get a big paycheck too? Like,
Well,
We'll get into that. Well, we
Okay.
will get into that, too.
but because news broke first that they offered him $20 million.
damn.
Yeah, which is fucking great
This
money.
league
Yeah.
has that kind of money already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I know they already have some notary fucking
Noteworthy-
players, noteworthy
notoriety.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, damn, had a fucking brain fart right there.
Words,
Yeah, they,
words are hard.
words.
I don't know on which end it fell through. Because I think Colin Kaepernick asked for the $20 million, and which would be fine with them, but I think he wanted it in 1 year. I think they wanted like a multi-year commitment from him. So I don't know on which end it fell through, but that's pretty interesting that they're offering him $20 million. Because just so you know, I think a franchise tag in the NFL, which is just the average salary of all quarterbacks, is about $20 million.
Yeah.
So that's the league average money in the NFL. That's pretty fucking competitive.
Cap actually was the one that wanted $20 million or more to consider playing in the league, and that was not within the AAF team's wheelhouse. They can't afford that to correct that. They could not afford that price tag.
So he probably did want it over 1 or 2 years, and they're just like, we could probably do $10 million over 3 years.
Damn.
So
Well, players earn right now $225,000 over 3 years in the Alliance of American Football.
oh damn,
Yeah, so there's not right now.
damn, that's like $75K a year.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money. So that's why for him to ask for that price tag, it makes sense because
Well, now he's a fucking tool for asking for
for 20 mil when other guys
Wow.
are barely making 220.
Closed
But,
mouths don't get fed.
you know,
fool.
Shit.
to argue that Colin Kaepernick is or should be considered top tier for that league, and because
Well, when he stopped playing 2 years ago, he was still pretty good.
and he was still technically considered a starting caliber quarterback, but because he's been out of the league for 2 years, a lot of people are questioning whether he still has what it takes to be a starting quarterback and to even earn that amount of money. Because we've seen in contracts like with what's his face, Kirk Cousins, who got
84 million guaranteed.
84 million
And then
guaranteed.
the Vikings are already like, we fucked up.
We regret everything.
Yeah.
We regret all
Yeah,
of
they
this.
already regret the fucking contract.
Because he's not, the first year was not that great. So
Yeah.
we'll see next year. But so moving on to Kaepernick getting a big payday, it was recently announced that both him and Eric Reed settled their grievance with the NFL over the collusion scandal. So, Fu, I know you said you wanted to kind of go into this a little more.
Yeah, I got a couple of strong feelings about it. Or maybe not strong. Who knows?
Continue.
Well, it just comes down to that he was known for his stance on the issue. And he was getting blackballed.
He was.
He was, straight up. I think it got to the point where the courts demanded to see communication between the owners.
Yes, it got to what, in terms of in the courts, at this point in any type of lawsuit, it's the discovery period. And so during the discovery period of a lawsuit,
where they start to gather evidence.
Yeah, where they start to gather evidence, which means your phone records, email records, everything becomes open to the courts. They can dig through everything, like what happened with Tom Brady. They could look at all your past text messages. They could look at every correspondent you've had with not just the NFL themselves, but the owners.
Whoa.
So every owner's...
So all the owners were getting subpoenaed to submit their phone records,
What the
email records, and any communication records.
Yeah, they had in regards to Colin
I think
Kaepernick.
that was the catalyst to make the owners be like,
All right, we got to
all right,
settle.
dude, we're gonna take care of you guys right now.
Yeah. And this is the official statement from the attorney of both Mr. Eric Reed and Mr. Colin Kaepernick, Mr. Attorney Mark Garagos. For the past several months, counsel for Mr. Kaepernick and Mr. Reed have engaged in ongoing dialogue with representatives of the NFL. As a result of those conversations, the parties have decided to resolve the pending grievances. The resolution of this matter is subject to a confidentiality agreement, so there will be no further comment by any party.
Damn.
So
So we're never gonna know.
we're never going to know how much was paid out. We're never going to know. All that we know
Mark
is
Garagos is a great lawyer, by the way. He has a podcast too called Reasonable Doubt. If anybody wants to check out his podcast, he's a dynamic motherfucker. And
Really?
he's good at what he does, and for him to pull this kind of thing up is impressive as fuck.
oh, hell yeah. I mean, Cap and Eric Reed, I'm sure they got a hefty settlement for what happened. I mean, we'll never know the number because of this confidentiality agreement.
And I think it's worth noting that a lot of people now are going to be skeptic of it, to be like, well, did they really stand by their guns? They did, because they've been fighting this for 2 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we got to remember the NFL owners are probably one of the few selective groups that work together that can kind of control whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Because
have
they're a group of billionaires.
they have
So these guys could
total
have made
autonomy.
this. Yeah, these guys could have stretched this out for fucking years.
They could have, but by them, for me, this is how I interpret it. For them to come to a settlement right now,
Yeah.
that proves guilt.
Oh yeah,
To me,
without
that
a
proves
doubt.
guilt, because it's like, dude, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
If you were really hiding something, if there was really something that was going to damn you, it was going to come out during this discovery.
Oh, probably a mistress in there too, or
So-
something.
so-
Well, yeah,
shit.
and if it wasn't guilt, it was dirty laundry.
Oh,
yeah.
totally.
And freaking all types.
Got an
of,
owner with like 6 gumas just waiting, fucking.
who knows how they communicate with each
Kaepernick
other?
comes in your building, you
Dude,
take
they-
him out. You take him out right now.
Dude, they could be racist as fuck.
It could be too.
So much
All
stuff
kinds
could
of
have got
scandalous
discovered.
shit.
And what they noted in one of these articles from Bleacher Report is the incident with the Cincinnati Bengals, where they brought in Kaepernick, where they reached out to his associates, Ravens, and but also the Bengals too. Yeah, there was the Bengals too. The Bengals too, and apparently Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, along with his associates, reached out and asked, "Will he still be continuing his protest?" And they said that yes, as long as nothing is done about it, he will still be protesting. And they said we don't want anything to do with them. So they didn't even bring him in. This was just pretty much them asking if he's going to still do it. And they said yes. And he's just like, all right, we don't want to talk to him. Yeah. And then the Ravens, too, as the Foo alluded to, they pretty much botched their free agent visit with him because it was in the same light that they didn't even work him out, huh?
They were going to. Like, he came to the facility. And then they were like, dude, are you still going to kneel? And he's like, yeah, I'm still going to stand for my cause. And they're like, well, we made a mistake by flying you in here.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
So he didn't even work out with them.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't work out for them.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And it was reported that Kaepernick is still looking to play in the NFL. He still wants to play 100%. And that he thinks that he can be the first vegan football player because he's fully vegan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been vegan for the last 2 years.
lifestyle.
Okay. And that was one of the things that they were kind of questioning because he became vegan in 2016, and that's when his play kind of started going down.
That's when he started to underperform.
Yeah, because he was fatigued.
Different diet.
Yeah, and he had changed his diet drastically in that year. Mm-hmm. So who's to say that maybe he has been working out and he's gotten used to it?
All that conditioning.
There are players that get used to it, like with Jay Cutler when he had his diabetes. He got used to it, and he balled out.
They had a system.
There's ways around it. So
I was listening to ESPN commentators, and a few of them believe that he's actually going to be on a roster this year.
Yeah, I believe so. I guarantee you he will be on a roster by training camp because if he does not get on the roster again, that still opens up this door. Like the NFL are going to look, they're going to actively look to put him onto a roster to kind of move away from all of this because there's no point in them bringing this up anymore. Mm-hmm. Like even Eric Reed, who had signed with the Panthers in 4 games into the year, he just got a contract extension. 3 years, over $40 million.
Yeah, and he's part of the settlement.
And he's part of the settlement.
He's not going to sit out or not play.
No, so he got his money and he got his contract in the NFL. So that to me shows like, okay, teams are going to legitly look at Kaepernick now. And some teams I would say that probably would want him are like the Redskins, especially with...
Or the Ravens.
The Ravens may want to get him too. I think he'd be a better fit on the Redskins just because with Alex Smith gone, and who knows if he'll even play again. Like, Fu, I think we told you about him. This was the football player that busted his knee. I think I showed you the video on the Redskins that his knee pretty much snapped.
Oh, yeah.
His leg snapped.
Shit was gross.
Yeah, and then when he went to go get the surgery, they botched his surgery, and they said that he may not ever play again, let alone walk.
Yeah, because of the staph infection.
He got a staph infection.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Gnarly.
So he's like, it's still up in the air if he's going to be able to play again. I think he's suing the doctor in the hospital for malpractice for what had happened to him. So the Redskins need all the help they can get.
That would be the easiest spot to see him. Other than that, it would just come down to how he's looking in workouts.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really going to come down to how his audition goes. If the teams are impressed, I could see him signing. And he had the ability when he played. Like a lot of people were comparing him to Tim Tebow.
Which is unfair because Tim Tebow never went to the playoffs and made runs like he did.
He made to be fair to Tim Tebow, he did beat the Steelers that one year. One game. But
what happened in the next game, man?
Yeah, he got his ass kicked. Yeah. But Kaepernick
almost went to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and he almost won the Super Bowl. Almost won the Super Bowl. And that was a good Super Bowl. The Ravens-Niners.
It was an exciting Super Bowl. I remember it being really fun.
That was one of the most exciting. Remember the power went out? Mm-hmm. That was the one where the power went out? That was awesome.
The Ravens were up to no good.
Yeah, those bastards. Ray Lewis is like, all right, cut it. And put the bolt cutters right next to that white suit I buried a long time ago.
Wow, dude.
I mean, come on, man. He killed that.
You know
guy.
how...
He did. Anyways, what?
Nothing. Well, now that we're talking about some contracts, I think it's time to talk about the MLB contract situation.
My God. The MLB contract situation is just so frustrating.
Yeah.
So, to no one's surprise, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper still have not signed.
Bryce Harper,
Mr. Harper. They have not signed at all. Mr. No Hustle and Mr. Hustle have not signed.
They were talking Giants, Phillies, Dodgers are still looking at him.
So the Dodgers,
right?
they're actually playing this smart, I think, because they're really just holding back.
They're on the sidelines.
They're the sidelines right now because Andrew Friedman said, we're not going to bid, but we're going to give you this offer. This is what it is. And then if you're really to accept it, come back to us. If not, we're moving on to other business.
Yeah.
And so Bryce Harper said he does not want to take a short-term deal, which the Giants offered him, a 4-year deal, close to like 80 million overall, I think, or 180 million. And he's just like, no, I want my full 10, 300 million. And yeah, that's a lot of money to jump from.
Some guys they're asking for $3 million each, but they're actually they can't even earn 50 cents right now.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of speculation there's been a big argument as far as MLB contracts in general. Because yes, we're talking about Harper and Machado, but there's still over 100 free agents not signed. There has only been like a handful of free agents signed.
When are they going to start looking into the rest of these guys?
Exactly, because
we're almost into spring training.
The pitchers and the catchers just reported to spring training, so we're starting. Like it's started.
Yeah.
And these guys still haven't signed. And so a lot of people are saying that what it comes down to is that the shitty MLB contract structure.
And I think there's a couple notable guys like Jacob deGrom.
Yeah,
he's going to earn $17 million this year, which that's pretty low for the team because he's a really good pitcher.
Yeah,
he's going to ask to limit his pitch count if he doesn't get an extension.
Yeah, the GM for the Mets was his former agent, so he's pretty much saying like, if you don't get me my money,
damn,
I'll stop myself when I feel like I need to stop myself.
And Adam Wainwright even has mentioned recently that baseball players might stage a walkout this year.
Yeah,
because they're not taking care of like the rank and file players. The big guys like this, they're getting taken care of, but the rank and file guys, dude, it's like indentured servitude, really.
Essentially, it is because you cannot really go into arbitration. Arbitration, mind you, where you have a lawyer or an arbitrator that helps you deal with their team until 6 years into the league. Because
arbitration. You really can't negotiate with each other. You leave it to a third party to make the decision.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of unfair in a way that in most law practices or labor law practices, arbitration is the last step.
Yeah,
you do mediation first,
and the MLB
is no mediation, only arbitration.
Yeah, and another thing too on top of that is that you have to start off in the minors in the MLB. And that can take years. Sometimes
people don't even cross over to the majors.
Exactly. And that contract usually, only the first round draftees or selections only make $1 million contracts. And it's only at most, what was Kyler Murray's $4.9 million?
4.9 or 3.9,
or 3.9 million. And just the contract, the first year contract. And that was the signing
$2 million signing bonus.
Yeah.
So really he gets 1.9 over 4 years.
And if you were to go into the NFL, it'd be way more than that.
He'll start at $7 million a year.
$7 million a year, and then the signing bonus is another 6 or 7. For first round picks, it's a $15 million salary, and so that's why he chose the NFL over the MLB, because he would have had to been in the minor leagues for a good 3 or 5 years before getting pushed up to the A's, which is the organization he was in. And then even then, he has to do another 4 or 5, 6 years to go to arbitration. He can't even negotiate his contract yet at that point. And then when he can finally do his contract, at that point, he'd be 28, 29 when he can be officially a free agent.
Let us get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Seriously, dude.
Then they want their big money, and the teams aren't going to give it to them.
Yeah, now that right now, this is the first time Harper and Machado, even though they've been balling out for 3-4 years, this is the first time they can ask for money. That's why they're not backing down from the $300 million. They're like, motherfucker, you should have been paying us 2 years ago.
Harper's been playing since he was 19.
Yeah.
He's 28, 29 years old. He's been playing 9
10
years
in, and this is his first time. he can try to ask for a lot of money.
Yeah, and they're not giving it to him.
It really is. They're trying. It's weird because he's not asking for that for his current worth. Mm-hmm. Some of it's like, dude, I feel owed this money, and which
like it's been coming to him.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it has because of everything he's gone to, and it's unfair the way the structures are for the contracts, especially for the younger guys just getting in. It needs to change. There needs to be change, and unfortunately, we may see a lockout before next year because of this, and we may even see a strike. We may see a strike.
There could be a strike in the next year.
There could be no baseball for a whole
months.
A lot of people wouldn't mind
maybe
that.
even a year.
Well,
a lot of people.
a lot of people would,
notice.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, they're $10 billion industry.
I know.
That's a shitload of money.
They're a worldwide industry because you got international guys watching it, coming over, like Ohtani from Japan. You know, so
dude, the Dodger games are broadcast like in Mexico and all over the fucking place.
Mexico, South Korea.
My cousins who live in Mexico have a better chance of watching the Dodgers
than
I do because of the stupid cable company.
Hey, let's get their passcodes so that way we can watch it, huh? But again, it's unfortunate that it's taking this long, and we may even go well into spring training games before these guys even sign. These guys may not even sign until right before opening day, which happens in March.
Which is not common for any sport except for the NFL recently because they have contract issues there.
Right.
Yeah, they're no stranger to contract issues. I mean, the MLB or the NBA had contract issues up to a certain point. You know, up until I think it was 2012 when they had the lockout, and they had that big TV deal, and they started distributing the money to get these guys those major contracts. Like now, in the NBA, the Supermax contract is over 230 million. Foo?
It can be as high as 230 million.
230 million if it's the team you're drafted with and you've made All Pro that year. You qualify
All Pro, one MVP, or one another like honorary.
Like All-Star.
Yeah.
Then you qualify for 5 years Supermax at over 200 plus. The only player right now that can get it, well, two players can get it right now. It's Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson. Anthony Davis wants out of New Orleans, so he's not going to get that contract anymore. Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors,
he's probably willing
to. He probably will get it.
That.
No,
I heard he's probably willing to not accept the Supermax money.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard differently from his dad, from Michael Thompson.
He told you?
Well, on the radio, Michael Thompson's always on ESPN. So yes, he told me. No, Michael Thompson always on the radio, and he's just like, no, Klay, if they give him Supermax, Klay's staying. I guarantee you that. He will stay.
It's weird, man. The MLB, just for your knowledge, Fu, the MLB has no trade salary cap. The NFL has a $192 million salary cap, and the NBA has a $90 million salary cap. And where do you see guys getting paid big money? The NBA, the league where they have the lowest salary cap.
Right.
So that's kind of why the MLB, this whole labor fucking contract issue is probably going to come to a boiling point where, people will miss games now.
Yeah. It's
just like last year. Last year for football was the first year we saw a running back willing to sit out a whole year. That was the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell. No, it's not the first because Marshawn Lynch did the same thing when he was on the Seahawks.
I guess so.
He retired. Marshawn Lynch essentially retired for 2 years, and then he came back to play with your precious Raiders. So that's kind of similar. It's similar, but Le'Veon Bell is more unique in that sense.
God damn it.
So no. I'm saying, okay, let me continue. Le'Veon Bell is unique because
let me prove my point.
because of the whole franchise tag thing. He's the first player to ever have been franchise tagged and not sign it and just say nah. Actually, you know what? No, I don't think he was because there was also Vincent Jackson.
All right, Josh, go to hell.
I'm just saying, man.
This is the most noteworthy one because of the whole franchise tag. And that's guaranteed money. A franchise tag is it's fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
So
that's right. That's right. Okay, so for my point, fact checking me a little bit, fact checking myself. Vincent Jackson did hold out up until week 10. So Le'Veon Bell is the first one to do it for an entire year. So the foo was right. That's the first time you guys are gonna ever hear me say it on here. It's gonna be the fucking last. I tell you what.
You're welcome, America.
So everyone, keep a lookout. Spring training is starting up really soon.
Ooh, it's crunch time, man, to see if we want to go to a game or not.
I mean, starts February 21st. The Arizona Cactus League starts opening.
Cactus League, foo.
Cactus League. Cactus League.
Yeah, maybe not this year, man.
Oh.
Let's see if we can go next.
You know what? Screw you. Let's see if we can go then, Josh.
All right. The spring home opener is February 24th against the Angels. And the Cactus League opener is February 23rd against the Chicago White Sox. Chicago.
Because Chicago trains with the Dodgers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all going to be around there, so I'm down to go.
I didn't think the foo knew.
What the fuck?
Quite surprising.
I know things. Again, I just don't care. But I know things.
Well, Foosy, do you have anything you want to bring up? Since you kind of liking us talk sports recently, and it's been very surprising.
No, let's see here. What did people post on the group? A recent contributor was asking if there was any racing fans because Daytona International Speedway is opening up today.
Go fuck yourself, dude.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop everything you're doing.
Well,
yeah.
all right, Chris.
Chris, get out here with that bullshit. Fucking racing. Talking to a bunch of Mexicans. You think we know how to fuck NASCAR?
What the funniest?
You asked me a question. Man. You asked me a question and I answered.
And
you know
I
the funny
regretted
part
every
too is,
minute
man,
of
people
it.
say racing's a team sport.
It is a team sport.
Technically.
It is a team sport because you have a team who's there to care for your car when you're
They're
in
all
the pit.
driving. They're all driving, right?
Well, they're
all driving?
depending on the race.
So Mark wants us to talk about Shaq getting nuts all over his back and neck.
We
during
just
the dunk
explained that he
contest.
did not. The guy, Adiallo, he used his fingers to project his nuts off of Shaq's shiny
That's
head.
true. And hey, so we were listening to ESPN Radio last night, and they kind of brought up a good point in regards to the dunk contest. And I kind of want to leave off on this note. So because the dunk contest has been so shitty,
Dude, it's been shit for like 15 years, dude.
No, 15 years. All right, come on, let's
Okay,
slow down.
okay, it's going to be 13, and Josh is going to fact check me.
Cut back the hyperbole there. 13? The fuck? 2009 was like the last good year.
Maybe.
God damn it.
Shut up! Shut your goddamn mouth!
Continue.
Anyways, so an alternative, because right now, how it's structured, you got 4 guys going, and each of them get 3 attempts. And as we saw last night, it fucking sucked. Like, these guys...
It was the worst part of the fucking festivities this weekend.
Yeah, they were gassed.
The celebrity game was way doper.
Ray Allen.
Oh, with Brad Williams.
Brad Williams.
And Adam Ray were
He's one of my favorite comedians, but goddamn, that was hilarious.
That's why Ray Allen scored so much. Brad Williams was guarding him.
Okay, I am actually going to correct you. He was on his team, so yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Now you're just talking shit. Well, one of the alternatives an ESPN radio announcer kind of came up with was, why don't we have them play a game of horse instead? And instead of
spelling horse,
they spell NBA, or they spell a 3-letter word like pig. We came up with NBA.
In street ball, you either play horse or you play pig. Mm-hmm. We don't want to do that in the NBA.
We don't want to call it
so
pig.
Why not they play horse, but they have to spell out NBA and you're out.
Yeah, I guess you could do something like that.
Because essentially it's still 3 shots, and you got 2 guys on the court at the same
and they're
time.
likely going to make all the shots because they're just better than the average Joe.
No, they may not make them
because they're trick shots now.
They're trick shots, but it's more competitive. Mm-hmm. Like now, it's like you have it as a bracket. You're going to have it like as a tournament style bracket where you have 2 guys going up against each other, and then the winners of each of those games go on to play a horse against each other in the last game.
That's dope. That's a great idea.
And you may get more. You actually may get more
really
exciting
fun.
shit.
I can only imagine like a big man playing, and he's gonna like jump and shoot it from over the other side of the backboard and like lay it up through the other side. Like a small guy can't do that.
Remember when Andre Iguodala did that from behind the backboard with Allen Iverson when he came on and did that badass dunk? Like you may see shit like that again. I mean,
dope.
This is a good idea. They should definitely grow on this, and they're always open to new things in the dunk contest. I think one year, which was actually the worst year, where they had a time limit. They had a timer. They had a 60-second timer where they can make you had as many
and it
attempts.
turns out, Fu, you can only try 2 dunks in 60 seconds.
Yeah, you can make as many attempts as possible to make this dunk. And
But you could only attempt 2 realistically.
realistically. So you had guys like go up there and then stop, go up there and stop for like 30 seconds. It's like, God damn, just do it. Just hit the goddamn dunk. So hopefully this, horse or, this horse type of pickup style game will kick off and it'll be better. One more thing I want to leave you off, or I kind of want to tell everyone, I was a little excited to see that our boy, Mr. Kyle Kuzma, won the MVP of the Rising Stars Challenge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he balled
35
out.
points and 6 rebounds, and he won the MVP.
He won the MVP. And he pretty much, they asked him, like, what was your motivation, for coming all out in this game? He's all, well, I mean, I don't know about you, but $25,000 sounds like pretty good motivation to me.
That's what the MVP gets.
That's what the MVP gets, $25,000.
Dang,
so
dude.
he's just like, dude, I'm balling out.
Hell yeah.
And hopefully this kind of propels him to having a more badass fucking second half of the season.
Propels, foo.
Propels.
Shut up, fool!
Well, that's it for me in Foobar Sports. Food, you got anything else for us?
That'll do.
I'd like to thank you all for listening, and make sure to follow and join our Facebook group, Foobar Sports. And if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, if you guys just want to talk shit to us, that's fine. We're no strangers to
You're already doing it. Why stop?
I know. Why stop? It's more
Don't stop
entertaining
now.
for us.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Well, everyone, foobity doobity. See y'all next time.